So let me ask you a question. You know Phil Baroni, right?
The badass.
The New York
badass.
What do you think about bringing him into BKFC? He's so. Let me preface it by telling you that he went through some problems with some substances.
Sure.
He was doing some things he shouldn't have done.
As a lot of people do. And we all have our demons. Yep.
He is now training, and living correctly and training his ass off at Jackson Wink in New Mexico.
Did not know that. Okay.
He has been reaching out to us left and right, and he wants to be a part of BKFC. And I think that he had a fight against Chris Leben on another bare knuckle organization. He got knocked out very, very fast. I don't think he was living right. I know he wasn't living right. I know he wasn't training right, and he took it for the pay.
I saw the fight. I was not impressed.
Yeah.
Not impressed by any stretch. He looked off, whatever that might mean.
But the old what's his name?
New York badass? Phil Baroni?
I'm just kidding. The old Phil Baroni.
If he's made a transition to a new team and he's,
a Phil Baroni that's living right,
he's focused
and training right.
Oh, he's deadly.
And if you see the pictures he's been putting on Twitter, he's ripped up. He's training.
He's shredded.
He looks the best he ever has.
What do you think about bringing him in?
What weight does he want to fight at now?
He's going to fight at 170, 175.
Okay.
He fought Chris Leben at 195.
I was going to say, I thought he was a little bit
he was smaller
than that.
Yeah.
Well, 20 pounds heavier.
We're looking at bringing him in on July 24th.
If he's at a good place and we can.
Who do you think would be a good opponent for him that we have?
At 170?
170.
175.
Depends on
we also signed a couple of guys that haven't fought yet, too. Yeah. Like, for instance, well, let's talk about some of the guys we have first on our roster. I mean,
we'll get back to you, Phil.
So, we did recently, but before the pandemic, right before the February 15th fight in Fort Lauderdale, we signed Thiago Alves. Thiago Alves, Pitbull, is a tremendous fighter. He's been with the UFC for a long time. He's built up one hell of a reputation. And, we signed him. He wants to fight it, coincidentally, 170, 175.
I'm not sure. If I put them two and, both of them at the top of their game.
There's Phil Baroni now. This is Instagram.
Wow, he looks sensational.
How old is he?
He's
Baroni?
41, 42.
Is he? Baroni.
He's definitely taking his Flintstone vitamins, that's for sure.
Well, speaking of Phil Baroni, let's talk about one of our good friends, one of our great fighters, Chris Leben. He announced on YouTube, Facebook that he did a
YouTube post.
YouTube post.
He's going to be hanging him up.
Yeah, I talked to Chris, and I actually had some people in the office, and I kind of rushed him off the phone just a little bit accidentally. Rob got really pissed at me. He said, "How could you do that to a legend like Chris Leben?"
Love Chris.
I said, "Look, man," I just had people in front of me. I didn't want to talk business with him. I'm talking to Chris actually tomorrow. He's definitely going to remain on the BKFC team. 100%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Didn't hear that.
He's going to stick with us.
Awesome.
We're going to try to use him to really be an ambassador for this sport and for BKFC, and I think he could absolutely do that. He made some great transitions in life. He repaired himself. He had a bad heart condition. He repaired himself by living right, eating right, and training right. And he got past his addiction. He had a really bad addiction problem, and for the past 2 years he's been clean. And I think he's going to be a great addition to our family as far as helping us move this sport completely forward, not just as a fighter, not as a fighter anymore at all, but as an ambassador, as someone that is really made his mark in combat sports. I think that Chris Leben is going to really help us move forward a little bit. What are your thoughts on Chris?
That's phenomenal. I know that he was reffing out in California, I'm going to say,
yep.
or in that area.
MMA in California.
He was doing some reffing out there, so I heard him, commentating on a couple of fights, and I'd love to see him do either or both. That's obviously something that you and him need to discuss moving forward, but him being still part of the family is awesome. How could you not like that guy? I mean, he's a legend. He's got more heart than any 10 fighters combined out there.
And he's just a nice guy on top of it.
is.
He's a really nice guy. He's a family man now. I don't know what his past was, but he's a family man. I always see pictures of him on social media with his kids out in the doing nature things, and all the guys in the gym at the arena that he trains with tell me that he's an awesome training partner. He's an awesome mentor. So, and just
do you remember how we found him? Not how we found him, but how we reached out to him.
How was it?
Do you remember, Rob?
I do.
Rob hit him up on Twitter, and I remember we called him up. And he was like, "Nah, I'm not really interested." Then I think he called back.
Yeah,
right?
we called him out of the blue,
Yep.
just to see, like, hey, let's take a shot.
And he wasn't interested. He's like,
No, he
"Nah, I'm
wasn't.
done fighting. I'm refereeing. It's not really what I'm into anymore." And I think you were like, "Yeah, let's send him. We're gonna send you some videos. Take a look. This is what we're doing." It was right after the first show. I think we had just done Cheyenne.
Yep.
And then
See if it's
after
something
that,
you might
he called back. He's like, "Yeah, let me in. I went in."
Well, I mean, speaking about guys that Rob reached out to, sporadically on social media, one of them is a guy I'd love to get over here. He's now unsigned by the UFC. Hasn't fought in about a year, or maybe even a little longer than a year. One of the hardest punchers in the history of mixed martial arts. Who is it, Rob?
A couple people come to mind.
He does not live in America.
Yeah.
Does he live down under?
Close to it, maybe.
He lives close
Are you talking
to
about
down
Mark
there.
Hunt?
I am talking about Mark Hunt.
Yeah.
I would love to get Mark Hunt over. When we posted the
I
offer,
feel sorry for whoever his first opponent is. He's not even signed, I don't think, unless you're going to say that you're
he's
signed.
No. He's not signed at all.
Okay.
We're not even talking to him. It's just someone I've been
Well,
thinking
Mark,
about
if you're
a lot
listening
lately.
out there, we'd love to have you. We'd love to continue that conversation. David's here, and please reach out to us if you're still interested. I've reached out to him.
But I mean,
whatever, year and a half ago.
imagine one of those overhand rights that he throws, Mark Hunt,
fuck that.
cracking somebody with a bare knuckle. And his hand is a brick. It's a brick.
It is. It's like a catcher's mitt. How do you get hit with that?
Some of them girls that you dated in your past looks like they've eaten brick sandwiches. But
dude.
this guy's got a brick.
They would give the best massages, though. It's like, fuck, man. Do you really want to keep him around? Like, all right, keep going.
Is that Mark Hunt?
Yep. Here he comes.
Marky Mark.
That's a boxing match, or is that MMA? Boxing.
No.
Or
Is it?
kickboxing?
Yeah, I think he did a stint in K1.
Does it say
didn't
what?
he?
Is it? It looks like K1.
Wow, dude, that dude can crack.
Man, he's old school, man.
Look at
He's
this.
back in
There
the
he is.
K1 Pride
Oh, that's
days.
It's not K1.
Yeah, but it's kickboxing.
Yeah.
Damn. Imagine Mark Hunt versus Mike Tyson.
I was gonna say that you were talking about who would want to get hit by Mark Hunt. Who the hell would want to get hit by even 53-year-old Mike Tyson?
Nobody. So let's talk about some other guys. What do you think of
Well, do you have any other announcements for the card? Anybody else that you're thinking?
I don't have any firm announcements until next week's show, because I want to lock everything up and secure this deal and make sure everything is exactly the way we think it is. And then I think when we announce this card, people are going to be very, very happy with the card that we're going to announce. Now let's talk about one of our other friends that was at our February 15th event. Big fan of what we do. Actually wants to fight for us. He just recently he was riding his bicycle in Brazil and he got hit by a car. He's a great guy, and I think he's absolutely a legend, and he wants to fight again. And we're talking about some potential opponents that would be Wanderlei Silva.
I am the biggest Wanderlei fanboy ever. When I first
Who would you like to see Wanderlei Silva fight?
The man down the street. I don't care. Put anybody in the ring with this guy, dude. I'm about it. That guy just swings for the fences, man. I mean, when I first saw his old fight videos, his shoot box, I think it was ungloved shoot box back in the day. It was mostly palm strikes. And then in his Pride days, I mean, this guy scares me today, man. Who would want to step in the ring with him?
So, I don't know, maybe Vitor Belfort would want to?
Ooh.
They've been going at it on social.
Are they?
Yeah.
What kind of fight would that be?
Well,
Who would win that fight? Who would win a Vitor Belfort, Wanderlei Silva bare knuckle fight? Stand up only.
Well,
Boxing,
Vitor got the
essentially.
best of him the first time.
Yeah.
I don't think they fought a second. Please.
When was the last
Correct
time
me if I'm
Vitor
wrong.
fought?
How did Vitor beat him?
Oh, dude, his strikes. He ran him to the corner.
Did he knock him out?
He ran him to the corner.
He did?
I don't know if it was a knockout, but he punched. He landed probably
they
like
jumped there. I think the ref stopped it.
15 unanswered shots.
And Vitor is signed with one championship, I believe.
Is he?
I believe he is, but...
So his last fight was for UFC 224, May 12th, 2018. And he announced his retirement after the fight.
Who did he
Who was
fight?
his last fight?
He fought Lyoto Machida. He was knocked out by a front kick.
Yeah, kick to the face.
Wow.
1 minute of the second round.
Dude, karate kick to the face, man.
How do you think Machida would do with bare knuckle?
That would be interesting, man. He comes from a very traditional karate background and style.
Let me ask you another question.
So I think the strikes, if he doesn't have to worry about getting taken down.
I mean, talk about a legend tournament. As I'm just thinking about this and talking about this, as we just mentioned, Tito Ortiz. I mean, that's the next name. There he is.
There it is. Cat's out the bag.
As we just mentioned, Wanderlei Silva. As we just mentioned, Vitor Belfort. Imagine Machida. Chris Leben. Imagine Tito Ortiz getting in the mix.
Our buddy Chael.
Chael, man. Chael's an awesome guy, man. I really like that guy. He's been a really great friend of us, and a fan of us, and just a really good dude, man. I really like him. I actually texted him the other day, and we never followed up with the phone call. I said, you got time for a phone call? And he said, always got time for you, and we didn't get to catch up. But I'm definitely going to catch up with him either today or tomorrow, and I just want to, shoot the breeze with him and see what's on his mind. But
well, save that for the next time we chat.
Yeah, no,
I'd love to hear,
absolutely.
where he's at, and what you guys discuss, and I'm sure the fans do too.
So, fans, who do you want to see? If Wanderlei Silva was to fight for BKFC, who would you like to see him fight? Drop a comment below. Let us know who you would like to see Wanderlei Silva fight in BKFC.
Our current roster, and you can check out the current roster.
Anybody that's unsigned. Obviously, if you know they're signed, we're not trying to bother other promotions. If they're unsigned, and you know they're unsigned, or they're with us, drop a comment below, drop their name below, and let's see if we can get an overwhelming response for one name or one particular name or a couple different names, and maybe we'll pick that guy.
Check out our roster at www.bareknuckle.tv today.
Yep, absolutely. So,
or give us your fantasy fight. Let us know.
Well, what's your fantasy fight?
Dude,
what's your fantasy bare knuckle fight?
I always, you always see on Facebook or social media, would you let so-and-so punch you in the face for $100,000? And immediately like, wow, that's pretty great money. Take a step back. I'm like, how much would I risk to get punched in the face as hard as they can from a Wanderlei Silva or a Mike Tyson? I don't think I could do that. There would have to be some serious money because I know my jaw is getting wired for the next 6 to 9 months. So that would be something very. I'd have to talk it over with the family and put a will together.
Good thing they can't see it because you're wearing goggles.
Yes. We're talking about boxers getting in. Boxers. Mike Tyson, a legend, one of the best that ever did it, that ever laced up gloves, and we made him an offer to take his gloves off, and it didn't go our way, but it's okay.
Took a shot.
It's okay.
Mike
Tyson's a great fighter, and he's trying to be a great human being now.
Hopefully we can get him out to a couple of shows.
Someone else that we've been talking to. What about I think it was 1992, 1988 Olympic silver medalist, world champion at the 154-pound weight division, world champion at the 160-pound weight division, world champion at the 168-pound weight division, world champion at the 175-pound weight division, and world champion at heavyweight. Roy Jones Jr. What do you think about Roy Jones Jr. fighting bare?
He should have been a gold medalist also.
He should have. He won that. He got robbed.
That was in Korea.
Moscow, right?
It was in. I think it was in Korea.
I think it was in South Korea. Sure. I think you're absolutely right about that.
But it may have been Korea. It was Korea.
What do you think about Roy Jones Jr. fighting bare knuckle?
Hey, listen, I love Roy Jones Jr. Watching him box was a thing of work in his heyday. I think he took the sport a little bit longer, meaning that I think he should have, tapped out or, gracefully pieced out of the sport before he should have. Do I think that he should get into a bare knuckle fighting championship at his age? I don't know. To be completely honest, I love him. I love him as a fighter, and I remember him as a great fighter.
Well, let's say that, yeah, but Rob, let's say he's going to be fighting someone around his age. Look, I talked to Roy Jones's people, and they said that he's in the best shape he's been in 10 years. Here was his thing. He was traveling every single
No
week.
doubt at all.
He's been confined, as we all been confined right now, and he's trained his ass off for the past 3 months.
Yeah, I feel like you come out one of two ways after quarantine. Either look like
Yeah.
Rob or you, or you look like Phil Baroni.
You put on 20 pounds, or you put on 20 pounds of good eating.
So, what would you think? What would you think? Let me just shoot a match out to you. Let me think if I was to say Roy Jones Jr. is going to fight Wanderlei Silva bare knuckles. You intrigued by that?
Nah, I'm not sure, man. I don't know. I love Roy Jones Jr. I think Wanderlei has a couple more fights in him. I think he has more fights in him than maybe Roy Jones Jr. Just because of, I don't want to go down that road of what's a safer sport, boxing, MMA. But, the amount of punches.
What's the safest combat sport you know, Rob?
No combat. That's the only safest sport, is you don't get struck,